Hi, my name's Shay. Today I'll be interviewing my local sporting hero, Chris McMahon. Thanks, Christopher, for coming along. Take time out of your day to let me interview you.
Yeah, no problem at all.
So I'll start off by asking you about your childhood. So whereabouts did you grow up?
I grew up here in Newry, so
In Newry?
yeah, my whole life been in Newry.
In Newry, whereabouts?
Originally from Chapel Street, and then lately I've moved to Blackburn past 6-7 years.
Did you think that whereabouts you grew up, did it influence the teams that you played for in the past?
Yeah, well, firstly I played Gaelic, so I live in Chapel Street, so Shamrocks would be my local club, and then once I moved to the Abbey I started getting into soccer.
Let's see. So did you play sport in school for the Abbey? Did you play McCrory or?
I was Abbey Primary, so it would have just been
right,
like
okay.
introduced like the soccer, Gaelic, the usual sports, and then that's what got me interested. And then I moved to St Joe's for secondary school.
Did you play Gaelic football in St Joe's?
Yeah, I played Gaelic then, and then carried on with Shamrock still, and then I was played for Midway when I was over that side of town. That's got me involved in that club.
What team did you grow up supporting?
Tottenham.
Tottenham?
Yeah, it's a strange one for me.
Yeah, normally you'll see people supporting Man United or Liverpool
Yeah.
in Newry. Like.
It was always good in PE though. I always had a different jersey on. Stuck out from their head.
Do you think any Spurs players that influence you in the way you play, or any past players that have influenced the way you play today?
I always loved Jermaine Defoe, but I definitely don't think he influenced me. I don't think I've scored in about 4 years, so maybe not the best one.
Whereabouts do you play?
I play centre midfield.
Midfield.
Yeah.
So obviously Jermaine Defoe wouldn't be
Yeah,
the
no,
best parallel.
no, definitely not. But I always just liked him. But then you have to look at players like Ledley King and stuff. They definitely would influence maybe the way you play.
Who would be your favourite player of all time?
David Ginola.
Ginola?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely not like me either. He had a bit more flair than I had.
So what all teams have you played for in the past?
Well, I started off at Midway and then I signed for Newry. But then when Newry went into liquidation, I went to Creve in the Cormier League, spent a season there, and then back to Newry when the club reformed.
So obviously you played in the Cornbean and now you play for Newry City as well. Do you think there's been a difference in sporting level between the two leagues?
I think so now. I think the fact that Newry went away from signing players from different parts like Belfast and stuff, they've took a lot more local talent. That might have affected the Cormier League, and especially now that Windmill and Warrenpoint are doing so well. I think a lot of those clubs are focusing on local talent, and that's maybe affected the Cormier League, but I suppose it's good for our local clubs as well.
Are there any particular players that you've hated playing against in the past?
Actually, John Joe Maguire was probably the worst. He's probably the hardest person I played against. He was non-stop, so he was elbows, everything, but he was always fair. So after the game, he always shook hands, had a pint, so it was always good.
Rough player then,
yeah,
was he?
Definitely, but very good player.
Let's see. Any particular current teammates that you like playing with?
People like Jimmy Walker and stuff, like boys just give the ball to and they'll just do something special with it. Like, it's always good to see. It makes playing with them a lot easier.
So do you think there's much of a difference in the level of training, or he's pushed harder by your manager now playing for Newry City than maybe what you did back when you played for Creve, like you said?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's like a higher expectation level when you're playing for your local city club, so I think training's higher intensity, match days and all, it's a lot more professional, and I think we're seeing the benefits of that professionalism now on the pitch. So it's definitely a good thing that we've stepped up that level. But in all cases, it's like for Creve maybe it's more enjoyable at some points where you're there just for recreational use, but now we're sort of here for like it's more serious, proper level of football.
Do you think that's have you been like asked to change maybe your diet or whatever to suit the way you play, or is it just
Yeah, there'll be more strict ways in eating, so but you can't look after us 24 hours a day, so I suppose a lot of it's on the player himself, how much he wants to push himself. But we're like, we get gym use and we get programs and stuff we have to try and follow, so a lot of it's down to the individual player as well, how much they want to push themselves.
So what team or teams have you played against that would you say have been the most difficult?
Well, in pre-season this year we played a lot of Premiership opposition to show us to step up, and you could tell straight away that they're a different level than what we were. But even more recently we played Linfield and we showed that we've closed the gap on that level now, so it shows that we're making a lot of progress, and that's only down to the work we've been doing.
What stadium or pitch have you played in that would you say has been the greatest experience?
Well, Windsor was a great day out, I think, for everyone on Saturday past. So it's good to get recognition and show that we are able to play at that level. And I think we just like to keep inspiring to play that sort of stadium week in, week out now.
And I'd like to ask you about your captaincy. So when were you first given the captain's armband?
I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago. I think it was 19 when I was given it. 19,
jeez. So how did you feel at the time?
Oh, it's joy. Like, it's not often people get to play for their local team, never mind captain them. So it's a very proud moment for me and my family.
Are there any past or present footballers that inspired you or influenced you to become a captain or a leader?
Maybe like people like Roy Keane, and midfielders you got Stephen Gerrard. Players you got would sort of be like replicate my type of game, so I think those would be the ones you'd look at more so.
And are there any particular skills or qualities that you think have been important to yourself that have helped you become a better leader for the team?
I think this we have to try and understand, like, there's different personalities in a group, and sort of helping, like, some people are quiet, some people are like outgoing, and I think you sort of have to try and mix all of those into the way you think. But I think the most hard working is probably the most important one. If you're showing up and you're lazy, you're late, people aren't going to respond well to that. So I always think you have to be really hard working for other people to respond to you as a captain.
And when you are like maybe losing in a game, do the rest of your teammates look to you to drive them on, get the win?
Yeah, sometimes it's vocally, and sometimes maybe how you perform yourself. Sometimes you'll be having a bad game, but you're still 10 other people to try and lift. So it's things like that you've learnt, especially having it for such a young age. You try and just grow each year with it. So hopefully I have improved in that way.
Has there been any advice in the past, maybe from your manager or family member, that's inspired you?
I think a lot of it's just sort of to try and bring your own personality into it as well. There's no point trying to replicate someone, because that's not going to work for how you be. So maybe just try and be myself. A lot of it comes down to that.
And any advice that you give to maybe fans or any young people that would like to become a footballer in the future?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is hard work. Like, I think you have to sacrifice a lot, but in the end it's worth it. It can be a short time playing football, it could be all over tomorrow, but I think you have to be hard working, and it's worth it in the end.
Well, thanks, Christopher, for coming today for the interview, and it was very interesting listening to your stories.
No problem, thank you for having me.